you are just waking up, big news at about 1:30 in the morning. This morning, the deal of Paul George became apparent as he signed a 4-year, $212 million max contract with the Philadelphia 76ers. The Clippers did re-sign James Harden, though, 2 years, $70 million. So what's interesting about this, and let's bring in John Fanta, our basketball insider. Good morning, John. First off, how are you today?
Good morning, Craig. Hope you guys had a great weekend.
Follow the bouncing ball here real quick. I can make the argument that Daryl Morey is actually some kind of black magician, right? Because somehow, some way, he sent James Harden to L.A., and in doing so, was able to get Paul George back for the Sixers. And then Harden gets the money from L.A. that he thought he was going to get from Philadelphia a year and a half ago. Give me your overview on this deal by Philadelphia.
Well, the overview also is Los Angeles Clippers counting on Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. Where is that really going to get them? For Paul George, for Daryl Morey, this is a home run, but the tea leaves were there. You don't get Andre Drummond on that 2-year, $10+ million deal, and Eric Gordon for a year, $3.3 million, without having the key piece to this whole equation. Daryl Morey looks like a magician right now. He is the big winner, the early front runner in NBA free agency frenzy. This makes total sense for Paul George. He joins Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. That trio will be the highest scoring trio in the NBA. You see Kelly Oubre Jr. is part of the equation. They just drafted Jared McCain. This team is set up to be a contender at the top of the East. There is no question about it. And I think that Tyrese Maxey's evolution, his evolution is key in this, Craig, because Joel Embiid, we know what he has done. He has been a great player. But at the end of the day, you need a lead guard who could take off, and Tyrese Maxey was able to show that against the Knicks. And I think that when you're watching him do what he was doing in the postseason, combined with a big regular season, I think that also plays a factor in all this. Philadelphia, your championship window is open, and Paul George cements it. For George, it's now or never in his career. Let's face it. His chapters with the Clippers ultimately were a failure.
Right.
This is a chance to salvage something in his career.
Yeah, it's weird. You know, the rub, of course, is going to be at what point do he and Embiid go down? Because that's been the story of both of their careers. Look, they're both Hall of Famers. They're both, unstoppable scorers when they want to be. These are the games that they both missed in the last 5 years, and I say that with the acknowledgement that George really didn't miss any games last year, so that's the 4 years prior to that. But if you were going to rank it right now, if the Celtics are number one, John, does this trade, in your opinion, put Philly above the Knicks? Or do you look at the Knicks and the Sixers now as both kind of tied at 2 and 2A?
Yeah, I do think they're tied at 2. And I think the durability asterisk is real. That's exactly why I have them there. Because if we were talking about Joel Embiid and Paul George, and there was no question of that, I think there's a world where you would give the Sixers the slight lean.
Yeah.
But I couldn't help but think, Craig, this morning, this is why the New York Knicks traded for Mikal Bridges. They saw the writing on the wall. They knew that the Philadelphia 76ers were going to look to get better, and other teams as well. It's a 3-horse race in the East. If you're the New York Knicks and you don't have Mikal Bridges on your team right now, we are definitely saying I think that Philadelphia has moved slightly ahead of them. But when you bring in Bridges last week, I don't care about draft capital. I don't care about picks in the 20s. You're going for this thing now. I think the team that gets left behind is the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't think that their setup lends itself for them to be a realistic title contender. Yeah, I said it. I think that they are absolutely fourth, and I don't think fourth's not good enough in the Eastern Conference. This is a 3-horse race. When the Knicks got Bridges, that means they were extra serious about this. They bring back OG. They are in a position, the New York Knicks, to also be in contention for a title. And honestly, I'm not just saying this because you're a New York Knicks fan. If I still had to pick between the Sixers and the Knicks, I would still give a lean to the New York Knicks because I only think Jalen Brunson keeps soaring. I think the chemistry of that team is going to be off the charts.
Yep.
And I just like their makeup. I like their depth, and I like their toughness.
Look,
plus 450 is tasty this morning.
Yeah, I like it too. And look, the Eastern Conference is better now because you have 3 legit teams, and that's being disrespectful totally to Milwaukee and the fact that they've got the Greek Freak, but they are down to number 4. I agree with you 100% on that. They've got to earn some credibility back and some respectability back after the last couple of years. Let me stay out west with you, John, because the reports out west, obviously LeBron opted out. We all knew that was going to happen. And now there are storylines that at 6 o'clock yesterday when the free agency market officially opened up, that LeBron waited till 6:01, I'm buying that story, and called up Klay Thompson and said, we want you to bring your old, decrepit game, which took a major step back last year, to the LA Lakers, and I'm willing to take less money to get you in the mix. First off, is there any truth to that? And B, do you think Klay Thompson becomes a Laker?
Surely there's truth to it. And I think Klay Thompson goes where he's wanted. And I think if you're wanted by LeBron James, that absolutely matters in a room. Now, is that the best move for Klay Thompson? Well, we'll see. But to me, Craig, this is LeBron James looking at Klay Thompson, the Klay Thompson that he met in legendary NBA Finals when he was a Cavalier against the Warriors. This is not a situation where I think he's looking at the here and now. And Klay Thompson is not the player that he once was. At least this past year, he was far from that. All we have to do is take a look now at a total of the last 5 years versus the previous 5 to understand that, there's some things that are not what he was. But I think for LeBron James, let's face it, he's desperate. There is another ultimatum here. There's something else going on here. You know what it is?
Go ahead.
It's that LeBron James knows that if we restart the Michael Jordan versus LeBron James debate, the debate ends. That when you start counting rings and you start looking at legacy, there's LeBron James, greatness, athlete personified, all of these things throughout his career. He has written a rich legacy. But when you only have 4 rings, and we thought at one point he could get 6, he could get 7 rings. This is his last-ditch effort, I feel, to try to go for it. He knows his team is not good enough to win a championship. Does getting Klay Thompson make them a championship contender?
It doesn't.
Got to do more? It doesn't. It doesn't do enough for me. But this is his attempt. It's LeBron James's attempt to say, you know what? While I'm here, while I'm playing the fiddle out, I still am wired to win. We got to get another perimeter shot maker here, and Klay Thompson can solve that problem.
Yeah, I don't think he does enough out west for them to make a legitimate run. I think we're all in agreement on that. 2 other guys real quick before we let you go, talking to John Fanta, Fox's NBA and college basketball insider. Chris Paul turned down $30 million to go back and decided instead to end his career in San Antonio with Wembanyama Mama. The only thing I can think of is that you will see a resurgence in Chris Paul from an assist standpoint. Arguably the greatest lob assist man in the history of basketball, having a legitimate receiver now to those lob passes. But interesting move from Chris Paul to turn down essentially $19 million to go to a team that had the 3rd worst record in basketball last year.
Yeah, this is a really interesting move because Chris Paul is 39 years old. And do you want to go through 82 games of Greg Popovich practices?
No.
For me, the answer would be no. I would have thought that Chris Paul would have wanted to end with a serious winner. What does this do for San Antonio? Look, it's a home run for the Spurs because the Spurs need a veteran guard who can be a leader, who can throw lobs to Wemby, and who can get all those guys just thinking on a different level. Chris Paul will be invaluable to Stephon Castle, their top 5 draft pick, and Devin Vassell as well. That perimeter needed experience. It needs some leadership. Look, Chris Paul knows how to conduct himself. He's a film room addict. He's in there. He sets the tone. I think it's a perfect thing for San Antonio in their organizational trajectory. And I peg the Spurs to be a team that gets into the play-in tournament. It takes a step forward heading into next year. But I don't get it for Chris Paul. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. $30 million waived. It ends in Golden State. And now you're going to go to the San Antonio Spurs, who have no shot of winning a title this upcoming year. And you're 39 years of age. Now you want to sign up to try to help a team for their future? At the end of the day, that's what he's going to be doing. I don't really get it.
Yeah, the other thing I do get is the Splash Bros era is over in Golden State. I know he wasn't a part of it. And you can now put out that delineation. When did the Golden State Warriors' dominance end? It was when a certain player named Jordan Poole got his face smashed in by Draymond Green. That's the official demarcation of the end of the Golden State Warriors run. So let me ask you about the Clippers, all right, to wrap this up with you. Look, I've known Lawrence Frank a long time, childhood friends, and I like him as an executive and a very smart basketball guy. But giving James Harden 2 years, $70 million, and watching your team get worse in the last 24 hours, where do the Clippers go from here, and why bring Harden back for $70 million?
Yeah, where do the Clippers go from here? They're walking aimlessly on the Avenue of the Stars. I don't know where they're going after a long night out in downtown Los Angeles. What the heck is going on? I like Lawrence Frank and his history as an executive, too, and his history in the NBA. But short-term deals for this much money typically don't work out great. And James Harden giving him $70 million over 2 years, are you trying to win it all? The answer to this question is no with a deal like this, and you're not going to be able to be considered in that category. It feels like the Clippers are in no man's land. They are that Hollywood star that has reached the point in his or her career where you're like, they only know how to make one type of movie. And It's gotten stale. It's old. What are the Clippers doing? What's their organizational direction?
They gave
I don't think anybody knows what is happening. And in the Western Conference, you have to have direction. You can't be stuck in no man's land. With James Harden for 2 years, $70 million, you're stuck in no man's land. Well, don't
forget, during last season, they gave Kawhi Leonard 3 years, $150, and now they gave Harden 2 years, $70. It's going to be like, night at the Wax Museum out there in LA. Final thing, before we let you go, this is John Fanta. One more thing. Any fallout that we didn't read or see or know about in regards to the Lakers signing Bronny from last week? Are we done with it? Are we good? Or is there an update I need to know about Bronny?
Craig, are we done with it? You might have slept on it over the weekend, but we're just getting started. I bought you tickets to a Summer League game in Vegas. We're sitting courtside when he checks in. No, we're not done with it. The NBA Summer League schedule dropped shortly after our conversation on Friday, and it confirmed what we talked about Friday morning. And you know what we talked about? That Bronny James will be put in the top airtime slots on the networks that carry the Summer League games. He is in prime time every night. He's got the 8 o'clock slot almost every game. One time he's got a late night game. But no, Bronny James is going to be a talking point this month because it's Summer League. It's a deader period in the sports world. We're going to eat this stuff up. I'll meet you in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm banned from Vegas, but outside of that, I would love to see you there. But here's the deal. Bronny James is the Caitlin Clark of the NBA Summer League. Good talking to you, John. Always good seeing you. If anything cooks tonight, we'll grab at you tomorrow morning. But have a good day. Thanks for your time, as always.
There won't be an Olympic team debate on Bronny James, Craig. I'll tell you that. Have a good one, fellas.
There you go. John Fanta. Hey there. Thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.